Commission launches 2023-2024 Demographic Health Survey for improved health indices.
A very good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on the 1 p.m. news on NT Channel 5 Abuja, the Unity Station. I am Abdullah Hejia. First, we'll begin from the presidency, where President Bola Tinubu has demonstrated his administration's seriousness and commitment to agriculture in the pursuit of its various food security programs. This is evidenced with his New Year consultative meeting opened with the governors of Gombe, Jigawa, and Niger State to discuss their partnership in agriculture. State House correspondent Musbaud and Wahab has details.
To ensure constant food supply.
Food security is one of the priority areas focused on in the Renewed Hope agenda. The government of the day gave first expression to that with the declaration of state of emergency on the sector. And the first manifestation was the National Wheat Development Program.
We launched the dry season farming with 120,000 of land in Jigawa.
Out of the 120,000 hectares of land intended for wheat production, Jigawa State was allotted 20,000, a further confirmation of the state's status as the leading producer of wheat in the country. Apparently keeping tabs on the program, President Tinubu received Governor Umar Namadi of Jigawa State, who confirmed that the program has taken off with the right momentum in his state.
With the extension services we have provided, and with all the support we have provided for, especially for land clearing, especially for harrowing, that we have supported the farmers, that has given them an opportunity to cultivate more. Somebody who was doing 1 hectare now is ready to do hectares because of the support he has from the federal government and from the support he has from the state government. And that will, if you multiply that, 40,000 hectares, that the official one we are doing, plus other ones which is more than about 10,000 hectares. And if we take just a minimum of 4 tons per hectare, which is a minimum, you can have, some people are making up to 6-7 tons per hectare, but we are taking only the minimum. So definitely, I think the future is very bright for us.
The federal government is targeting more than 1.2 tons of wheat production per annum, and the governor says his state is also thinking ahead along with the federal government.
Over time, we definitely export wheat. We are doing the first one, and then after this one, we are going for rice, and the next one we are going for wheat. That's how the cycle will continue to go, and that will definitely, we're going to have food sufficiency, and we'll definitely have surplus to export.
President Tinubu also received Governor Mohammed Inuwa Yahya of Gombe State, one of the states designated for agro-processing zones by the federal government.
We've set up an industrial park where we can, process all the raw materials, all the agri-produce that we have in the state. I think if all states will key in and work in tandem with the federal government, we shall easily reach the destination.
Governor Mohammed Bago of Niger State was also on a similar visit to the president.
You will have seen the emphasis on agriculture and also the 500,000 hectares the government is planning to farm this 2024. And Niger State has provided itself as a pilot state for that project, and that we are also ambitious to also match with the federal government 500 for 500.
The federal government has designed various programs to reduce food inflation, increase production, promote self-sufficiency, as well as stimulate economic growth. From the State House, Musbah and Wahab, NC News.
In another development, President Bola Tinubu has approved the appointments of new executive directors into 2 agencies under the Federal Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy. To the Nigerian Ports Authority, Ms. Vivian C. Richard Edit, Executive Director of Finance and Administration, Engineer Olalekan Badmus, Executive Director, Marine and Operations, Engineer Ibrahim Abba Umar, Executive Director, Engineering and Technical Services. Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, has Ms. Jibril Abba, Executive Director, Maritime Labor and Cabotage Services, Mr. Chudi Ofodile, Executive Director of Finance Administration, Engineer Fatai Adeyemi, Executive Director Operations. According to the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Anjuri Ngalale, the President approved the appointments with the firm belief that the new appointees will expeditiously and efficiently execute on their collective mandate to create the conditions required to significantly raise the contribution of the marine and blue economic sector to the nation's GDP, while evolving the Nigerian economy into a labor-intensive and inclusive one that creates new opportunity for all Nigerians in accordance with the renewed hope agenda under the able guidance of the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Adeboyega Oyetola. Still with the presidency, President Bola Tinubu has approved the extension of the Yuletide free train service till Sunday, 7th January 2024 to allow more Nigerians who are yet to return to their stations enjoy the benefits. The federal government announced a free train service on all service routes and 50% rebate on road transportation from December 21, 2023 to January 4, 2024 on specific routes to reduce the burden of high cost of public transportation during the just concluded Christmas and New Year holidays. The Minister of Transportation, Senator Said Ahmed, in a statement says, while more than 163,000 Nigerians benefited from the successful first leg of the Yuletide initiative, President Tinubu, in further demonstration of his care for the welfare of Nigerians, directed that the free train service should be made available for extra 3 days to allow more Nigerians to take the advantage. The public is advised to note that this extension applies to all 3 routes currently being serviced by the Nigerian Railway Corporation as follows: Lagos Ibadan, Warri Itagbe, Abuja Kaduna. It is hoped that Nigerians who are interested in traveling by rail will take full advantage of this unique opportunity aimed at enhancing people's welfare. Away from that, in a bid to ensure that all promises made are fulfilled, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has embarked on another tour of project sites within the city center. Onozi Yakubu reports that the inspection tour is to enable the minister see for himself the level of work ahead of completion schedule for before May 29 deadline.
For now, we schedule every week. Desirous to complete some of the priority projects before May 29 as promised, the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike inspected the ongoing road projects. First was the Outer Southern Expressway OSEX and the Outer Northern Expressway, where the minister inspected critical components of the projects like the Asokoro interchange and the drainage system. The Vice President's official residence was again revisited to ascertain progress of work. Visibly impressed, the minister commended the commitment of the contracting firms handling the projects, pledging to fulfill his own side of the bargain by providing the necessary funds.
I'm happy to announce to you that the Minister of Finance have been able to release 50% of the national supplementary budget, and that in a way has given us that hope that the contractors will be paid within any time from now. And then we have also gotten the assent of the statutory supplementary budget, which Mr. President has assented to. That again has given us hope that no project will be left uncompleted as promised. Like you can see, these are quality projects which we are very satisfied, and we believe with the arrangements the contractors have made, put in place, these are things that in the President's way in office will be commissioned.
Nyesom Wike, however, appealed for the residents' support and cooperation as he set out to fulfill his promises to the people. Onoze Yakubu, NTA News.
Now, the FCT State Office of the National Population Commission has officially launched the 2023-2024 Demographic Health Survey, the Federal Commissioner for the FCT, Joseph Shazinkwali, at a press briefing, stressed the significance of the exercise, which will help in the collation of accurate data for policy formulation and improved health indices. Hakimat Aliyu brings us details.
For more than 3 decades, the National Population Commission in Nigeria has spearheaded the implementation of the Nigerian Demographic Health Survey, an exercise carried out every 5 years, with the last in 2018.
In each of the selected clusters, particularly 30 households, and it has been extended to 45 households, really, where 30 is where the ordinary questions about health of Nigerians, particularly women and children, women 15 years to 49 years, and men 15 years to 59 years will be asked questions on their reproductive health generally. But we are even going further than that. Other forms of health issues that are challenging to Nigerians, questions are asked on them. Disability, how well are Nigerians living?
FCT State Director, NPC Meidu Suleiman, notes that the exercise is being carried out in 5 selected area councils of FCT.
Gwagwalada, a cluster, some certain areas have been selected. Like in Gwagwalada, we have 4 clusters. In Kuje, we have about 5 clusters, and then in Amak we have about 18 clusters, and then in Bwari Area Council we have about 5 clusters. Right now, our men are on the field.
Speaking on the launch of the survey, the Federal Commissioner for FCT, Joseph Shazinkwali, expresses gratitude to all stakeholders and partners for their unwavering support.
Specifically for providing primary funding for the survey and for providing technical expertise through the ICF International. We are deeply thankful for the support received from the notable and long-standing partners, including United Nations Population Fund, Global Fund, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, UNICEF, World Health Organizations, and various others. This support has been indispensable in bringing the survey to its present stage, and we sincerely appreciate your commitment to this cause.
The survey, which is in close collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Health and partners, is instrumental to providing insights for evidence-based policies as well as enhanced public health interventions. In Abuja, Hakimat Aliyu, NTA News.
Thank you, Hakimat. And now joining me now in the studio to talk more on that issue, talking about the demographic health surveys, the Deputy Director, the NPC, and also the Deputy 2023-2024 NDHS, which is Nigerian Democratic Health Survey Team Lead, Olakunle Olugbeyo. You're welcome to the news at once, sir.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon.
Okay, right away, we just watched a report which is on a briefing talking about 2023-2024 NDHS, which is an acronym for National Democratic Health Survey. You're part of those who have put together some of these statistics. Can you just give us more into what has come out from that briefing?
Thank you so much. Like you said from that briefing, the NDHS is a project, and it can as well say that it's a national sample survey that is funded by USAID to assist low and medium level in countries in areas of their population and the use of their data in areas of their population, nutrition, and health status in each of these countries. And how do they use these data? They now use these data now to assess the health status of each country, the nutritional patterns, how are they feeling, how are the people at home, what are their nutritional patterns, and then this one will now inform the necessary interventions from the government. And across board, the survey covers about 1,400 clusters within the entire federation. And out of these 1,400 clusters, it's passed through both urban and rural areas. We have 701 clusters in the urban areas and 699 clusters covering the rural settings. And among within these 1,400 clusters, we are targeting 42,000 households. And out of these 42,000 households, 1/3 of it will be for men's questionnaire, which is about 14,000 households. Then the other 28,000 households will be for men questionnaires will not be administered in those households. But variably, in all the households, which is the 42,000 households, we are going to administer women questionnaire across board.
Okay, that sounds interesting. But we're looking at 5 years period now for such. So what's the implication? 5 years.
The implication is that, this is a health program that is funded, like I said. National Population Commission is the implementation agency, while Federal Ministry of Health is providing the oversight functions. The implication is that, it aids planning. Whatever might be the result of this survey, we are sending it down to the central office, and we are assessing it directly and immediately, and we are giving feedback to the people on the field. The implication is that when the data are now being analyzed, then government will now know areas where they are going to come up with their various interventions in terms of health facilities. It even go beyond health facilities, the nutritional pattern of Nigerians. How are they feeding? How do they collect their water? How do they get water they are drinking? Then what are the sources of this water which they are drinking? The one they are using for food, how are they getting it? Then what time will it take them to go and access all these facilities? These are the issues that are going to come up from the data.
Okay, well, I learned it's across the federation.
Exactly.
So the one we just saw is for the FCT. Okay, beyond just these statistics, what can also the NPC do? Beyond just providing these statistics, do you also advise governments, in addition to what you found from the field, to say, okay, we think this should be done, and if not speedily done, to assist these people?
Yes, the outcome of a survey, it takes a long way, because we need to start with adequate planning. That's the first level. After planning, then we now train our functionaries who are going to the field. I mentioned we are covering 1,400 clusters, and we are going to each of these, about 42,000 households within these clusters. We have to train the people that, in fact, they have been trained. They went to the field to cover these 42,000 households. They do the household listing and the mapping of this cluster, so that it will facilitate the survey, the actual field interview while they are going on the field. Now, after doing all this, after completing this, we are going to analyze the data. The data is going to be analyzed. From there now, we now understand, okay, the nature of the status of the country, the nutritional patterns, where the government needs to bring in interventions, what is needed to be done to assist our people in terms of their health facilities, whether their health facilities are going to be provided, how are we now assessing their patterns. For example, now the target is that by 2030, we should have an improved nutritional pattern. That's one of the sustainable development goals.
Sure.
So that's what we are targeting.
Okay, well, I don't want to preempt what you have found, from the field, but I wanted to ask if actually, what are some of those figures you have, come across? Is it something that we should be worried about? Talking about now the figures you've gotten from what you have, discovered. Is this something we should be worried about, or FCT is comfortable in terms of, the indices?
There is continuity in government programs.
Okay.
And from the inception of this program, this is just about the third or the fourth week of this, or the third week of this program. And as they are working on the field, they are sending the data to the central office. And we have the data monitoring team that is at the back end that will assess these data. What we are doing now is not at the analysis level.
Okay.
What we are doing now is that the data they are collecting, what are the errors? How are they going about it? Are they doing it the right way? What are the things that are supposed to be improved upon as they are collecting the data? Immediately, we are transmitting this back to them on the field through the zonal coordinators and the state coordinators. After this, now we will now analyze. This is not the analysis stage.
So how soon should we be expecting the analysis and the outcome?
That is shortly after the project has been finally, the information, the data collection of the field have been completed. Then we now go into the analysis section of the data.
I want to thank you very much, Deputy Director NPC Ola Kunle Olugbeyokun.
Thank you so much
for coming, and we wish you well, and hoping that we'll get the analysis and breakdown of what these figures are for policy formulators and implementers to be able to do the needful towards improving the health status of FCT residents. Thank you once more for coming in the news.
Yes. If I may still add,
okay,
at the end of it, there will be a report.
Okay.
The report now will now show all these areas, all these indices, all these areas whereby government can make up interventions, all those health facilities, all those the nutritional pattern of country of every state, the way it sits in every state, it will be explicitly stated in the report.
Thank you very much. We'll have to leave it at that. And moving on, we'll go on a short break, and when we return, the news continues shortly.
Good evening. Glad to have you join us.
Thanks for joining us on Weekly News Wrap.
Thank you very much for having me.
And it is on that note we welcome you to today's edition of the program.
I will celebrate creativity, lasting impressions.
There's no book stating that this is the role for men.
On the news.
On the news at 7.
The
latest station, NTA Channel 5, Abuja,
would say have a lovely day.
Thank you for staying tuned. Let's now join the business desk for what's trending in the world of business.
Good afternoon and welcome to Business News This Week. I'm Hakimat Ali. Nigeria spent 2.7 trillion naira to import premium motor spirit, PMS, diesel and jet fuel in the third quarter of 2023. Data by the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, shows coming amidst the inability to overhaul the country's refineries. White products have remained the largest import of the country. The total import of PMS imported during the period stood at 1.9 trillion, while diesel was 736.7 billion. Jet fuel was 135.5 billion. While Nigeria remains a leading crude oil producer, the country is one of the only major oil producers that is totally on the importation of petroleum products. Nigeria's continued dependence on importation of petroleum products remains a concern. Moving on, the increasing high cost of production, transportation, and other factors have caused the price of 1 kilogram of local rice to jump by 73.2% in 1 year. According to findings, this happened despite a multi-billion naira funding support of the Central Bank of Nigeria for the nation's rice value chain, aimed at boosting production and stopping the importation of foreign rice. Rice, a staple food widely consumed in Nigeria, has been rising in price despite production locally. The commodity now sells for between 55,000 naira and 60,000 naira for a bag of 50 kg, depending on the area of purchase. Owning a provision store is a means of trading. It enhances economic concept, which involves buying and selling of commodities. Our correspondent, Michael Okondo, reports.
Selling provision is presently thriving, and it is a business which can kickstart small and can be done in the neighborhood. Madam Ganiat sells essential provision in an estate at Idu and has used the business to sustain her family. She said she enjoys doing the business because there's constant demand for these items to meet people's basic necessities.
Challenges we are having now is transportation. Transportation, because since the increment of this fuel, everything has skyrocketed. The transport that, like, I have a car, I don't use my car now because of the fuel. I will go on public transport, and we used to pay 100 naira. Now you have to pay 200.
She advised Nigerians, most especially women, to improve their business skills. Reporting for Business News, Michael Okondo.
And that's our package for this week. Thank you.
Thank you, Akimet. And now to go to hear from the world of sports, let's join our sports desk for that.
Confederation of African Football (CAF) on Thursday announced a 40% increase in prize money for the winners of the 2023 AFCON. According to the statement published on its official website, the winners of the tournament will now receive $7 million, a $2 million more than the reward doled out at the last edition in Cameroon, where Senegal won the Apex Prize. The 34th edition of the competition will now see the runners-up of the African Football Showpiece event get $4 million, while each of the two semi-finalists receive $2.5 million, with each of the 4 quarter-finalists taking home $1.3 million. To cricket, Nigeria Cricket Federation has confirmed 58 male and female participants across the 6 geopolitical zones in the country for its 5th National Under-17 Championship. The numbers break down to 33 male teams and 25 female teams. Teams from different states will face off on a round-robin format to determine the zonal champions and also pick the team that will represent the zones at the national finals from January 20 to 28, with the national finals from February 7 to 11 at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja. The other sport, professional mixed martial artist, kickboxer and former UFC middleweight champion Israel Adesanya has claimed his first ever MMA Junkie Knockout of the Year award for his second round knockoff of Alex Pereira in April 2023, having won multiple awards to include Newcomer of the Year, Fight of the Year, and Male Fighter of the Year in Mixed Martial Arts. The Nigerian-New Zealand fighter claimed the title with Sports Brave Gideon Yohana, NTA News.
Thank you, Gideon. And Sports Brief brings us to the ends of the 1 p.m. news. But before we go, a major recap of some top stories. President Tinubu has approved the extension of the Yuletide free train service till Sunday, 7th January 2024. And Minister of Federal Capital Territory has embarked on another tour of project sites within the city center. That's it on the 1 p.m. news. Do join us at 7 for more news and updates. I am Abdullah Hajia. Good afternoon.